Welcome, mortal. It's time for another alluring and exciting Kaiwaza Hawaiian record update.
Well, it's time for a Hawaiian record update. These would be on Hawaiian Exotica recordings that have been added to my collection since the last update, which was a couple of months ago. And this will actually be, in this never-ending series, video number 296, if you can believe it. Okay, so Hawaiian records I have added to my collection in the past couple of months. Let's get to it. First one, this is a double 2 LP set. I picked this up at a local record store. It's a Japanese set, very unimaginatively entitled Hawaiian Hula by, well, we'll get into it in a moment, by a number of people, but we just call it the All-Star Hawaiian Session. Records, there's no date on it. Late 60s to mid 70s, I don't know. Has full on in Japanese all the song titles, and this is by a collection of well-known artists in Japan who did Hawaiian music. My translator only worked so good, my Google Translate. So I tell you the ones I know. Hiroshi Wada, Kanichi Sasaki, Ethel Nakata, I know about her, Tatsuo Otsuka, Kaori Eto, and then Yuko Nagisa, and then the last one, it would translate 100 different things every time I tried to do it. Something about Keahi, Moody, Hawaiian production number or something. I don't know. But anyway, and it has some pictures of some of the artists inside of it. You know, there's a great love of Hawaiian music in Japan. There was, anyway. I mean, I think there still is, but there really was. And they built little Hawaiian villages where people could learn hula. They play it a lot used to play it a lot. I have no idea now whether they do or not, probably not. But they used to play Hawaiian music in Japan a lot. It was associated with the summer, in the summertime. And there are a million Hawaiian records recorded in Japan by Japanese artists and by Hawaiian artists recorded exclusively in Japan. So lots of Hawaiian music in Japan. Really good. This record, I really enjoyed these two. The songs they're very traditional hula numbers. They're performed in a traditional style with great arrangements, really nice steel guitar. I really enjoyed this record. Yeah. Number 2. Now this is a group you might know if you're into Hawaiian music and tiki music and whatever. Originally, well, they're from Hawaii, but they originally were recording in California when they were all in college together. And then they continued a recording career and then came back to Hawaii and continued a recording career and performing career here. But they are the Surfers. Now, the Surfers, this is an older record of theirs. That's who they are, because you're not going to see them on the record I've gotten more recently. But, yeah. It's one of their, a little bit later on Decca. The copy I have is a promotional copy. It's called Misty Rainbows. I have seen this record around. I always held off on getting it because there's a couple of Hawaiian songs on it. Otherwise, it's just sort of loungy, their style of like loungy music, which I love, but I was gonna get it cheap. I'm like, someday I'm gonna see it in a thrift store or in a dollar bin, and that's when I'll get it. And last couple of times ago when I went to the Room of Wonders at Ideas Music and Books, it was in the dollar room. So That's when I picked it up.
Home safely to me, red sails in the sunset, way out of the sea. Oh, carry my loved one.
And like I said, Decca Records, and it's a promotional, white label promotional. I gotta tell you about that. So you see this lei I have around my neck here, this artificial Hawaiian lei, very lovely ribbon-esque sort of thing. Well, I'm giving away a whole bunch of them to two people, a contest that I'm doing, and I'll give away just kind of for the heck of it. I love these artificial leis. They're all over the place here in the islands. At thrift stores seem to have like a million of them, and they're really beautiful. And I love just getting them, and they look sort of like this. Some are ribbons, some are just artificial flowers, some are like kukui nuts decorated. But they're beautiful, and what can you do with them? You can use them to decorate your Florida room or your tiki lounge or your, whatever. And they look great if you just drape them on a painting or on a lampshade or drape them around tabletops or whatever. Of course, you can wear them when you're wearing your resort wear, Hawaiian wear, and if you in the future have tiki gatherings or luau's or Hawaiian dinners or whatever, it would be great to give these out to your guests to wear during the festivities. So I'm going to give away 2 boxes. The first place will be 12, a dozen. The second place will be half a dozen. And very easy to enter. All you have to do is send your entry into me at Hawaiianhifiradio@yahoo.com. Just email to Hawaiianhifiradio@yahoo.com. I just finished up a series on Exotica Records. If you can tell me your favorite Exotica record or artist or song, that would be great. Or if you don't know, just say, I don't know, but I just want to enter the lei drawing. That's great too. It doesn't matter where in the world you live. I will send the boxes anywhere. It doesn't matter. So enter. I'm going to run this contest until Valentine's Day, the end of Valentine's Day, February 14th, and that's when entries will stop, and then I'll do a video drawing out our 2 winners. So enter, okay? They're beautiful, they're fun, they're free, they last forever. All right, new records. This one next, the late Bud Tootmark and his Hawaiian steel guitar, Beloved Hymns. This also is 2 records. Now, if you're not familiar with Bud Tootmark, he was inspired by Saul Ho'opi'i, a great steel guitarist of the early 20th century. And he had a very long career recording sacred, religious, Christian music on the Hawaiian guitar. Many, many albums by him. And this is one of his later ones from 1984 on Light Records, which is a Canadian religious label. Yeah, 1984. 2 albums. The first album is all instrumentals. The second album is all the same hymns, but with him playing steel guitar and vocalists singing. So honestly, I haven't even played the second album because the reason I got it was the instrumental one. I do love the instrumental steel guitars. Hymns mix right in with Hawaiian music. Like if you're playing it, when I program them on Hawaiian Hi-Fi, I'm sure people listening don't even realize, unless they happen to know the hymn, know it's a hymn, because a lot of hymns, a lot of Hawaiian music is based on a hymn type of structure. And because it came from the missionary era, a lot of Hawaiian songs written in the 1800s and the monarchy period, even into the early 1900s, sound similar to hymns. And so it's not out of place. They especially if you're playing instrumentals, I mean, they sound very similar. So this is a nice album, like his other ones, very much like it. Just beautiful instrumental, beautiful steel guitar playing. Up next, this is kind of a fun one. I don't know if you're in the tiki world, you've heard of this person. In the Hawaiian music record world, maybe not. Mr. Mysterious Man, Korla Pandit. This album is Hypnotique. Check out the painting here. This guy says here, Mr. Pandit was born in New Delhi, India, a musically gifted child. His mother, a member of India's first families, and his European mother nurtured. His father was India's first families, and his mother was a European-born mother, nurtured his talent, and eventually journeying to Europe, England, blah, 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 blah. And then he has this whole career playing the organ, very exotic music. Okay, but the truth be known, later on, I believe after his death, it wasn't even until after his death, that it was revealed and his family came public that he is actually African-American. He had nothing to do with India, never been there, was not born there at all or anything. So, but he sort of passed himself off as this Indian mystic musician person and sold many, many albums of very exotic organ playing music. Titles like, I have a few of them, Tropical Magic, Music of the Exotic East, Music for Meditation, this one Hypnotique. Fun stuff, and if you ever see some videos of him performing, really interesting because he does this whole thing with his eyes, you know, it's like very mysterious.
Nothing warms the soul like the soothing sound of lovely Hawaiian records of decades past. In these chilly Arctic blast winters, won't you come and relax with me in the warm breezes of the island? Just tune in to Hawaiian Hi-Fi Radio on live365.com. That's all you have to do. It's free. Lovely music 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It feels like lying on a warm towel on a tropical beach. Hawaiian Hi-Fi Radio on live365.com. Go there now.
Then I have this record from Viking out of New Zealand. Now, I had some of these songs already on another album by him, but there were enough new ones on here that I went ahead and got this album. Hawaiian guitar favorites, Bill Savesi and his Islanders. This is our instrumentals, featuring Trevor Edmondson on the electric steel Hawaiian guitar. Love the cover on this, and I love the steel playing in the songs. Viking Records. Finally, we have this album here. Now, I know you're thinking, hello, Hawaiian Exotica music. What is this thing, this Asian language thing? What is this? Yeah, okay, and this is not even a new record. I've had this record for a very, very long time, but there's a little story with it, which is that before the time of Google Translate and everything, I didn't know what it was. Like, it's like a kind of a not amazingly great dance band with a Hawaiian guitar playing, but it's all Chinese songs, basically. And with Google Translate, I was able to translate part of it, some of it, but it's very complicated with these Chinese, whatever you call them, figures or characters, because it's very contextual, and you can take the picture and have it translate, and it will give you like 15 different translations. Some of them won't make any sense at all. Some of them will make perfect sense, but then you'll do it again, and it'll be a different translation of them. So it's kind of hard to do it without a person. So I did contact my good friend in Macau, who's originally from Taiwan, because he loves doing stuff like this. And I'm like, okay, I've tried to work some of this out, and I just don't know what all of it is. And he filled me in. It's called Popular Dance Music. on Auspicious Records. It doesn't give an artist. It doesn't say who the artist is. And we did, even the song titles, we translated fine. There were a couple that were funny. This one is Love Phoenix, which is a song actually which is a theme song from a movie. It's like White Christmas in America. He says, everybody knows this song. It's been recorded by 1 million people. It's like Moon River. Yeah. This one was funny because that's as close as I could get to a translation. He said it does mean that actually, but it just means that every family has problems, is what it kind of means, yeah. So, quite an interesting record from Auspicious Records, yeah. No date on it, but it's probably, I'm going to guess and say early 60s. I don't know, maybe 50s, probably early 60s, yeah. And that's it. I'm going to stop there. I hope you enjoyed that. Those are my recent acquisitions. More to come. I did get something from England, a couple of records from England that are coming in, and one from Germany that's on its way. So some interesting Hawaiian stuff coming up there. And if you want to check out my Hawaiian radio station, it's down below, but it's Hawaiianhifiradio at live365.com. Any comments below if you have these records or know anything about them or anything about the artists too. I'm always happy to hear people contributing little tidbits of information. It keeps it interesting, and I learn things because I sure don't know everything for sure. All right, we'll talk to you in the next video. Thanks a lot, and have a good week.